I have 3 children. I see how different it is. Like, they just talk to chat, and they're like, "Hey, chat." They don't even know Google exists anymore. Great idea is just half the battle now because you can quickly spin up a company. I do believe that every person on this planet is going to have a personalized tutor in their pocket. The model we are using today is the absolute worst model you will ever use in your entire life.
Hey everyone, this is Prashant and I'll be your host of the VC 10X podcast. And today we have Elizabeth Weil with us. Elizabeth is the founder and managing partner of Scribble Ventures, where she just closed an $80 million Fund 3 focused on backing AI native startups. Elizabeth's journey is fascinating. She spent 7 years at Twitter during its explosive growth, then built the market development team at Andreessen Horowitz. What makes her perspective unique? Her formative experience, of course, but there's one more thing. Her husband, Kevin, is currently running product at OpenAI, giving her insider insights into how the world's most advanced AI company thinks about the future. In today's episode, we talk about the Scribble Network and how it is the lifeblood of Scribble Ventures. Definition of AI native companies, bold AI predictions, navigating the tough LP fundraising environment, and lots more. Whether you're building in AI or simply curious about the future being built in Silicon Valley, this gives you a front row seat to how one of Venture's most thoughtful investors is placing her bets. Let's dive in. This episode is sponsored by my own podcasting agency called Podcast 10X, where I help venture capitalists, asset managers, allocators, and family offices in starting their own podcast and building a strong brand. Podcast 10X is designed in a way to work well with the busy schedule of investors, where we handle every aspect of podcast production so you can focus on investing. If you're looking to build a strong investor brand, starting a podcast should be right up your priority list. It's the only form of marketing where you can showcase your strong network, in other words, access to limited partners and founders, and grow that network further. And contrary to what most people hear, it's still very early to start a podcast. There are at least 10x more newsletters and 1000x more blogs than there are podcasts in this world. You can learn more about our podcasting services at podcast10x.com. I'll make sure to add the link in the description below. Enjoy this episode. Hey, Elizabeth, so good to have you on the VC 10x podcast. How are you doing?
Thanks for having me. Great to be here.
Yeah, it's a pleasure having you on. You've had an incredible career from your time at Twitter to Andreessen Horowitz to founding Scribble Ventures, right? Could you share the personal why behind starting this firm and what was the gap in the venture landscape that you felt that needed to be filled, and how that vision has evolved to now closing your largest fund to date, the $80 million fund, Fund 3. So tell us more about it.
Oh, thank you. Well, the journey is definitely a work in progress still, but it always makes sense looking backwards. But yeah, just to how Scribble came to be. So I came out to the Valley about 25 years ago from for Stanford. Grew up in near Sacramento in a little town called Orangevale. And I was undergrad in economics, master's in engineering. And really what opened my eyes to tech and the Valley was a program within the engineering school called the Mayfield Fellows Program. So that was really where I got my start. I joke that it saved me from going to a consulting firm or an investment bank, because through that program, during the summer, you work at a venture-backed startup. So I was very lucky to land at a small 8-person company back in 2003. And I learned so much. It was so fun. We grew to 130 people. We shrunk back down to about 8 over about 3 years, and I just had a wild ride and so many people that I still know. So that got me into the bug for startups. And after my master's, I went to Menlo Ventures, so a stage agnostic firm on Sand Hill, learned the ropes there, and then went to Institutional Venture Partners later stage. And it was actually there in 2008 we made an investment in Twitter. And I'd already been a beta user, but I'd gotten to know the company from the business side through that as well. And then a friend there said they need somebody to start their analytics team. And Kevin, my husband, and also one of the legs of the Scribble stool, he's our operator in residence, day-to-day deep operator. But we were already married at the time. We met on the triathlon team at Stanford, actually. And I came home and said, "Hey, this little company, Twitter, needs somebody to start their analytics team. Who do we know?" And Kevin said, "Well, I could learn that." And So the next thing you know, he started in early '09, stayed through crazy hypergrowth to about through 7 years, took it public. And I went over about not 6 months after he had joined in the end of 2009, started the corporate development team, worked for our CEO, Dick Costello, for all 4 years I was there. And again, just loved operating. That did tease out after a while, though. I missed the investing side, but wasn't sure I wanted to go straight back into it yet. And was recruited out by Andreessen Horowitz. And there I had a chance to build out a team called Market Development. And that was a great motion for our portfolio companies. So essentially connecting the Fortune 500, Global 2000 to our portfolio companies' end goal revenue. So great lift for them, and built that team over 4 years. And then I really did miss the investing side. But Kevin and I had been able to lightweight angel invest. We were writing small personal checks. He'd gone on to run product at Instagram and then co-found Libra, Facebook's crypto initiatives before leaving to be the Planet president, taking that public. And now he's at OpenAI, running product there. But through all of that time, we were just connected to great founders, friends in the valley, all over the country, for that matter, all over the world, and building in super interesting spaces. And we were writing small personal checks at that point. And I saw this, barely managed portfolio. We had this Google Doc that we put everything in, and we invested in about 100 companies over 8 years. And by that point, I had three small children, and I was terrified, we'd never be able to send them to school if we kept at that clip, but I really saw that it was working. So I picked my head up. I'd been at a firm as a general partner called 137 Ventures, and that was in the structured secondary side. But again, it wasn't early stage, and I love the motion of early stage. So the big gap I saw was that the seed, pre seed funds were getting larger and larger. And this collaborative size check was what allowed you to not be sharp elbowed in the market. And that's the way I love to invest and build. So I felt like if you could right size a fund, which Scribble won, summer of Zoom pandemic, founded Scribble right at the start of the pandemic in early 2020. And that first fund was a $50 million fund. And I felt like if you kept your fund size constrained and really worked like a builder and a startup mentality of, we're scrappy and we love that. We're in the weeds. We all wear multiple hats, and you could really return a fund of that size. So Scribble was born. And again, one of the theses was create that network that as an angel, you just grow a network around you, great operators, day-to-day executives, people that are their angel investors, operators at other firms and companies. And you really can build a great motion. So Scribble won $50 million fund, like I mentioned, was a 2020 vintage. Scribble 2, fortunate to raise a $55 million core fund and then a small breakout vehicle, which is our opportunity fund, essentially. That was a small $30 million fund for B and beyond. And now just closed up the fundraise for Scribble 3, an $80 million fund for a core fund, pre-seed and seed, and backing the best top 1% founders, we say, building in really unique, interesting spaces. And I also think it's so much that VCs talk about specialize, but really at this stage and backing great people and very network based, we believe in this intentionally generalist motion at first. We've been AI heavy through the 5 years, and do look at that, but we look across enterprise, consumer. We have a few interesting robotics companies, some big data and weather companies and big swings. So we really look everywhere, but really want to back that top 1% founders.
Absolutely. And many congratulations on the Fund 3, which is now live, right? And a lot of Scribble Ventures also, hovers around the Scribble Network, as you call it, right? So tell me more about what is this network? How did you build this? And who are the people in it? And how does this help your portfolio companies do things better?
Yeah. So it very organically was is the real answer. And like I mentioned, as you're angel investing, it's just the collection of people that I'd worked with, other people you get to know through. I like why I do this job. I love the fabric of connecting people. And I think that's something the Valley especially does well, that you're always in a moment to meet new people, connect dots. And I love doing that. I would be doing that if I didn't have a job. And I really wanted to replicate that with Scribble. So we call it the Scribble Network. And a number of those people are listed on the websites or on the Scribble website, and many of them are small LPs in our fund as well, which is quite rewarding. But those are the people that we call for diligence help. We see opportunities from. They're sending interesting companies from founders that have been on their teams. Many of the people on Scribble Network are day-to-day operators and executives. So they're seeing interesting things and they can say, hey, this person's leaving my team. They're top 1% founder, but you should definitely tackle what they're looking at. And then helping us spin up on diligence. So if you think of all of the parts of the job for a VC, seeing, picking, winning, and helping portfolio companies down the road, the Scribble Network helps across all four of those things. So seeing, obviously, with extended deal flow, picking, helping us diligence and vet people, even back channel references, uh, and then winning. Often, one of the great things we turn the table as we try to win an opportunity and a founder and say, who would you like to meet? And these people really are on, text or email and a dinner away. And when they see this extensive list of people that can really help, uh, eyes wide open, and really impressive. And then often we also bring these people in as small angels. So we think to build a really an exceptional round, you should take a few strategic angels. And if we can make room for 3 to 5 phenomenal angels that'll help that company grow as well, we should be putting those people together, and then helping the companies down the road. As you can expect, the Scribble Network has great expertise in a variety of areas. So if you need someone to help on growth or on, some sort of marketing channel, or you need to talk to somebody that's been a CFO at a company that's gone public, like all of those pieces are there.
Absolutely. Yeah, that has to be so helpful for founders or building, right? That's invaluable. So with the new 80 million fund, a lot of your focus is on backing AI native startups at the pre-seed and seed stage, right? So how do you define an AI native company, and what are the key characteristics you look for in a founding team that signals that they have the DNA to build a category defining company in the space they're operating in?
Yeah, and as you know how noisy the landscape is right now, it is a hard job, but really pulling out those great opportunities and backing the best. Uh, I really do look at AI as an enabling technology. I think it's going to touch absolutely everything we do going forward in some way. And I look at this as, if your ultimately success is making the world faster, cheaper, better, safer, smarter, AI is able to do all of those things and be on that journey. I also really look at the analogy to electricity. So much is changing right now. And when the electricity wave happened, like you think of the trickle down effects that we don't even think about, like the way labor hours and workforces adapted because now we had electricity and you didn't just have to work during daylight hours. Like there's so many other weird things that start to come of it. So as a team, we really look for either and native teams that have grown up in it. I mean, I have 3 children. I see how different it is. Like they just talk to chat and they're like, "Hey, chat," and they don't even know Google exists anymore. And so I think one is backing founders that have grown up in that environment, education, etc. Also, repeat founders that have done this before, know the playbook of building, but now have all of these exceptional tools to work with. I mean, those are 2 big things. And one of the other things we really drill into is moat, because there is so much noise right now, and we're all able to build and replicate similar things. Like, a great idea is just half the battle now, uh, because you can quickly spin up a company. So how do you really create some moat and some network effects that create that lock-in value that will basically underwrite what we wanna do is underwrite 100x, and we want to envision a standalone public company or 2 in the areas that we're backing.
Absolutely. And your investment thesis emphasizes companies with their proprietary asset, right? And in an era of foundational models, how do you assess the defensibility of a startup's data strategy?
So I think data is one piece or some unique workflow that we have a few investments in the portfolio that I really admire where those founders have some unique understanding of that workflow or working with the data set and the workflow. So those are some of because data and now we all have so much data. So that isn't just the thing that can differentiate. You really have to have some secret of why are you the team on this planet that is going to merge all of those pieces and be able to build a company where you actually create real revenue and real value.
Absolutely. And having operated at companies like Twitter, right? And even at venture capital firms like Andreessen Horowitz, arguably the best in the game, right? In a way. What are some learnings from that operator journey at first at Twitter and then at Andreessen Horowitz as an investor that you carry forward into Scribble Ventures and into helping your founders and also building the firm, taking inspiration, maybe learnings from your time at Andreessen Horowitz as well?
Yeah, and so many pieces that are, part of the journey, but one of the things operating there's too much to do in any given day, and it's just the cadence of work that you get excited about, and I mean, I joke you didn't have time to sit down, you didn't have time to get into the right conference room at the right time, like, it was just so fun, and there's that skip in your step. I wanted to build Scribble in a way that makes me proud and that is part of it. Like we have the hustle, we have the drive, we operate on a WhatsApp thread. We start a WhatsApp thread with each one-on-one Scribble founding team and team Scribble. We want our founders to say they have Scribble in their pocket. I am so I joke normal, but I like that I can invite a founder to meet me for a walk and you get to know them personally. You also are doing the work, but that it's not fancy VC meets founder. I just operate so much more as a builder. Uh, I'm not fancy. And I think there's something just about that hustle that founders really appreciate. So that is one of the things. From the Andreessen time, we really were standing up operations within a venture firm. And the thing I admire about them is they really built the playbook on what services do our founders most need through this journey. Market development is definitely one of them. That's customers. So I love that I've had that motion to build. Tech talent, both on the engineering side and VP and above level talent, is a huge need as companies grow and scale. So that's something that we can help with. Go to market that all need help in go-to-market strategy, and that's something that every team member at Scribble has both done, built, and is exceptional at. And then in addition to, pieces of product, I think Kevin is one of the best product operators, and being able to even talk about the extraneous things of how do you build a bench and how do you, work with your direct reports. So we're in the weeds enough on those helpful stages, but we're not trying to build your company for you. And then some of the things that I really now having been in venture in the valley for 25 years, next round of fundraising, that's always a need. And the who, the firm, the partner, the angels, what should that construction look like? And that's something that I definitely love helping our portfolio companies with as well.
Yeah, absolutely love that. Almost covered all the fronts a VC has to cover, right? Awesome. So when you're investing at the pre-seed and seed stage, right? Let's say there's not a lot of traction there, right? What are the key things that you're looking for at that stage that help you make the decision whether to invest or not?
It's hard. Then this motion of venture, I think you do start seeing it when you know it when you see it, but it takes a wide top of funnel. But really one of the first foundations is warm intros. Most all of the companies that we get to know at the top of funnel are already warm introed in. So there's some signal there. Then I always love asking the founders, like, why are you the team on this planet that is going to be able to build this company have some unique background that drives you to do that. And I think when there's that story and you can tease it out, like there's some guttural desire for this company to exist. You can very quickly tease that out versus we've been whiteboarding for 6 months. We wanted to solve a problem, and this is what we came up with. So I think meeting the team and hearing that story is first part of it. I think unique backgrounds and why your past and your journey led you to this. That's something I love to hear. You don't necessarily need to have the top pedigree. You don't need to have been in every rocket ship company, but that there's some meandering journey that led you to this. So there's some of the few things we start with.
Yes, absolutely. And just coming out of that fundraising round for your fund three, and now is one of the most difficult times in the LP landscape that we have seen how they're deploying, right? So, what was your experience while fundraising? What were the key things that you observed and how LPs are approaching deploying, and what can be helpful for maybe other managers who are trying to raise right now?
Yeah, it is a difficult time. I feel fortunate to be done, but again, even our LP network, we've extended and built so much as a part of Twitter or a part of Scribble. The first fund was, I will rewind to that. I hated selling Girl Scout cookies, so I never wanted to ask anybody for money. But when you really see this playbook for what you want to build, you get over that fairly quickly. That summer of Zoom, I basically had to ask anyone that I could think of, I felt like for money. And it was very uncomfortable, but I believed in the strategy and the why I would make them more. Usually your first fund is a lot of friends and family with some great executives, people that had I known through the journey, and I never asked for anything, and if they were there saying, "Of course." But we were talking smaller checks. Some phenomenal family offices, some small institutions. But we do not have one large anchor. We do not have the laundry list of universities and endowments. So Scribble 2, again, it was a long tail. And that's one of the values too. So many people are investing in Scribble and want to be a part of it. And Scribble 3, I would love to tell you that I have, 5 LPs and all the amazing endowments and institutions. But again, this has been built out of, like, people we've built strong connections with, and our LPs have grown over time with us. Um, and it's great to get to know. I always love family offices because there's some unique story of, what did you do? There's some entrepreneurial journey with that group, and you get to know them all like real people. Uh, I think we might look very smart given the climate, not that we had a choice on it. Uh, but I think endowments and universities are going to be in an entirely different part of the venture landscape now as they tweak their models, things are coming. So I'm hopeful that the strong relationships we built with some phenomenal family offices and smaller groups will grow over time and we'll cull down that LP base of Scribble. But I again I look at it as part of the network piece. We host Camp Scribble in our backyard every fall. And now we extend it to many of our LPs too. Those people are just now friends and great conversation folks too that we've even been able to add in with our founders and things like that. So I look at it as a less scary, you know, pitching to large LPs, but more building this collection of friends.
Absolutely, yeah. Thanks for sharing that. And since you're focused mostly on investing in AI startups, right? And that space is super hot right now. And when something is hot, the valuation skyrocket in that space, right? So, how do you think about valuations as well as being mindful about at what point you're investing in, and that's reasonable enough to get a good outcome out of it going forward? So, tell me about that.
Um, so I think investing in world-class AI founders now and having the ability to see across the landscape on valuations, I think that's part of it. I think, again, like around construction, I look at this as portfolio construction. And we are definitely sensitive to valuation because the math has to math. But there are those unique cases where some phenomenal, say, second team is coming out to do it again and build an interesting space in a large market, we can make the case for certain times to make the exception. So I do again look at this like a construction of our fund where there are some of those high flyers that we can rationalize, but it's going to be hard. And then there's those great opportunities where you're getting in early with a pre-seed opportunity, and you're still a very traditional pre-seed evaluation.
Absolutely. And you must have seen tons and tons of AI startups, given your network. Also, your husband is operating in that space. And obviously, an amazing deal flow, right? So,
what are the specific areas or let's say subsectors within AI that you're most excited about? What are the spaces that you think are maybe already taken by the existing players, and what are the areas that you think are still wide open for new players to take?
Yeah, I'm enjoying spending some time in some definitely like out there areas that I have faith will exist soon. We haven't made some big bets in yet. Uh one I do enjoy that's still growing and many companies have been back, but in this AI world now, needed infrastructure and tooling that needs to adapt to like what we do have available now. So that's one area that I do think it is exciting. Also the longevity and like being enhancements over time. I think we are going to have access to so much more data that allows us to either. I think we will be shocked that we all aren't taking um, individually tailored drugs, prescriptions, etcetera, to make us healthier, better, longer living. So that synthetic bio piece too, I really get excited about some things going on there. Um, Also, I don't think we've solved education yet. I do believe that every person on this planet is going to have a personalized tutor in their pocket. And what form factor is that? How does it adapt and grow? I don't feel like we've found that bet yet. And then one of the things that I love thinking about, especially with children and also in aging parents, that this idea that we will live forever, and not in the sense of I don't believe that we're all going to be living to 200 anytime soon, but that our children's, our families, our friends will have access to our knowledge base or our brains or the memories or experiences. Again, like what form factor does that take? But that Elizabeth will outlast Elizabeth and my children might be able to ask me a question past my, existence. So some of those larger things I like to noodle on.
Absolutely. All those quite interesting. And I think AI is also changing behaviors in a lot of spaces. So, what I've seen in myself is that I've always been curious, but I think with the coming of the AI chat tools, let's say ChatGPT or Perplexity, my curiosity has grown with that. Because earlier, if I had to search on Google and so many links come up, and you have to think which one is the right one for me and then find the answer in that. But now with these chatbots, you can give a pointed question and get that pointed answers that cater to your questions, very
Oh,
personalized, right?
entirely, and even,
So
uploading your medical labs or being able to read an X-ray faster than any radiologist and with
yeah,
more precision. And then some of the other cool areas that we have made investments in the portfolio, like one company called Atmo that's big data for, weather, and AI model there, and how much that can change. It's not just telling us if we should put a sweater on, but agriculture and in world events, uh all sorts of things that starts to touch. And then even thinking how now with more access, like we have some interesting companies within the agriculture space and AI, and what can you do there again with more data, but and then also as we build and grow. So I just so much great things going on right now. uh and I look at our portfolio and in those tools like within the enterprise too, that like any designer should be able to write code essentially. And will that be through voice? Will it be? So we're making some interesting bets all over the stack.
absolutely. Yeah, and I've tried that one where I uploaded a medical report and an MRI to a chatbot, and then it gave me something, but then it said, okay, you should go to a doctor and rather consult them. I'm not the best person for that, and then all that. And then I told it, no, you can do it. It
Ah,
still doesn't.
yes. And I think we won't have to care as much about prompting as things grow. Obviously, like we
Right.
joke that the model we are using today is the absolute worst model you will ever use in your entire life. And
So,
do you
yeah.
need to tell it now, act like you're the world's number one radiologist and read this, that we won't need to do those prompting pieces. So just how much is going on and how fast things are happening. And even on these agentic workflows, how much more we can get done, but we will start to think of bigger projects where your agent is coming back in a number of days having solved your problem, versus just, go purchase my Lego and put it in my cart and check out for me.
Absolutely, completely agree. And I think that's also an interesting problem as VCs, right? Since these models and LLMs are always getting better with time, right? When you're evaluating startups, how do you evaluate that? Okay, this is sounds like a good company today, but what if tomorrow these big LLMs, companies with billions of dollars in funding, just do this out of the box from their product itself, right? So how do you solve for that?
Well, I don't think you can entirely solve for it. This is a journey, but one of the things I feel extremely fortunate is to have, Kevin's insight and advisement on our team at Scribble. And he is living day to day within one of the world's fastest growing companies, in a seat at OpenAI. And he's not able to see the future. But I think just having those conversations about what is building, where are those holes, where can you think that a company like OpenAI or Perplexity won't go. And the more that we can talk about that and keep it a fluid conversation as these models change, I think the better. Because he often says that in this climate of product, it's interesting building product at a point like that too, where everything is changing so fast and your roadmap nearly goes out the window. And have being able to talk to our founding teams about that too, and how are they approaching it? And I think again, that gets back to backing the top 1% founders. They will know how to navigate that journey as it changes in real time.
Absolutely. Yeah, completely with you on that. Coming to my last main question before we go to the rapid fire round, and this about what's the single most important piece of advice that you would like to give to someone in the audience who's likely a founder in the early stages of building their venture, right? So, how do they start building? What's the approach, or maybe any learning that you'd like to leave them with that can help them build their company better?
Oh, so a few things popped to mind. One, I have I call 'em my big three for where I work, when I work, what I do. And forever it's been number one, the people. Number two for me is location, because life's too short to have a really long commute or to, not be in an environment that makes you thrive. And number three is, am I learning? And whenever those get out of whack, then I made the change in my career. Now I joke I'll never have to make a change because with Scribble, I'm working with people that I love. I am doing it at a location that makes me thrive, and I'm learning absolutely every single day and building. Uh, One of the things I got to focus on at Twitter though was the Twitter corporate culture, and we were scaling at such hyper growth speed. I started and Twitter was about 60 people. In a year, we were 320 people. And when I left after 4 years, we were at 2,500 people. And one of the things I tell myself is, and what I like to do is make a big world feel small. And I think that's why I like connecting folks and knowing my mailman and my garbage man and the person that makes my deli sandwich. I love making a big world feel small. But I think founders, there's so much ahead to do, and you need to build a team and attract talent, but really nailing that and getting it right in the early days. When you're adding one person to a two-person team, like think of the percentage growth that is. And do that deliberately, but with those people that, I joke, I all of the people I want to hire, I want to work for someday. And if you can craft a great team, I think it saves you so many headaches as you grow. That those people that have that skip in their step and very much are a culture bar raiser, uh, and saving the headaches not only of fast firing, but I think that the people are so key. And at this scale and speed, you might get tempted to hire quickly, uh, but those first few just so important.
Absolutely. Great advice there. With that, we come to the rapid fire round, and I'll ask you six quick questions about the investing you're doing,
All
and you
right.
have to give six quick answers, right? So, the first one is, what are the sectors and regions you invest in?
So our LPA allows us to invest absolutely all over the world. I like to say that most of our Scribble portfolio companies lie within big airport hub cities. So we've got a big clustering, of course, in the Bay, New York, LA, Seattle, Austin, and then some peppered all about. We also have some interesting companies in LATAM and Canada, and even a few international ones. But if we're making an international investment, we definitely take the lead of somebody that knows the market very, very well. That's primary for us.
Right. Great. What's the typical stage where you like to invest?
Typically, we're pre-seeded seed. That's for our core fund, which is our main fund in this one, and then we also can invest in both net new and past Scribble companies out of our breakout fund, and that's typically B and beyond. We just want to be on the best world class companies that are changing everything.
Right. Right. Do you lead rounds?
We can lead, we can follow, we can co-lead. Often we look like the second largest check on the cap table. Typically, we write a 750K to $1.5 million check for the initial investment. So we can do all of the above and have.
Got it. Where can founders get in touch in case there's a direct way?
Easy to find us, scribble.vc at scribblevc and hello at scribble.vc. Drop us a line.
Awesome. Right. Last one. Where can our listeners follow you?
I am at Elizabeth on Twitter and Instagram. I'm basically who I am, where you are, see me, and then you can always get me by email. But that is where I show up on the digitals.
Right. Absolutely. I'll make sure to put that link in the show note below so that our listeners can get there easily. Thanks so much for making time for this, Elizabeth, and I wish you happy investing.
Thank you. Thanks for hosting and looking forward to successful journeys for all of you. And get in touch. We want best 1% founders.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thanks.